Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novi-Williams, and this is the back-to-back NLCS Champions Sports Business Podcast, the Sporticast.
Stan, what do you prefer, back-to-back American League champions or like defending World Series champions? I would go with B myself, but I'm just a co-host.
I would go with American League. I would go with National League.
There we go. You definitely don't want that either. Yeah,
Defending World Series champion works fine for me, and defending and future would work even better.
I was going to say, there's an option C here, which is back-to-back World Series champions. And I'm
that's
the
ideal
one, yeah.
That's the one they're going for. You know, when Shohei hit his 3 home runs the other night, Stan, and the great pitching, whatever, I didn't see it in too many stories, but I happen to have the date in my brain because my first baseball game ever was Reggie Jackson's 3 home runs. Wow. And that was October 18th, and it was the day after. So once you flip midnight, I was wondering if we're going to see that anywhere, and I really didn't see it anywhere. I'm like, baseball's supposed to be the game rich in history. Nobody went there.
I'll tell you something funny. That was the day I started work for Ted Turner in Atlanta. That was the first day of my career, literally.
Tell me about interviewing with Ted Turner. Because we probably have a bunch of listeners. I was sort of quasi a Braves fan.
Yeah.
Because I could watch them in New York. I watched Rick Mahler pitch all the time. I always thought he pitched both ends of double headers because he was just always seemed to be on the mound. But people forget that we've been in this so long. Superstations and Braves were America's team because I saw them all the time. Tell me what it was like working for Ted Turner, sort of sports empire person.
Well, I started in October 1976, and 6 weeks later we turned on the Superstation. So I literally was there on the ground floor of that. And you're absolutely right. We were, for many years, a really bad team, a last place team, and in some respects an embarrassing team. But we had more fans than anybody because wherever we went around the country, and our broadcasters, Pete Van Wieren and Skip Carey and Ernie Johnson, they were celebrities everywhere we went around the country because of the Superstation. And that was very cool. The beginning of a really fun era for Braves fans.
Tell me the takeaway, the sports business takeaway from we were a really bad team, but we were popular wherever we went.
Well, the thing is, back then it was a much smaller media universe than we have now. Now games are on your phone, on your wrist, and you can pretty much sign on to almost any game, any night. But back then, there were parts of the country that didn't get any baseball games because baseball was localized. We had an enormous region in the Southeast. It was the biggest by geography, the biggest region of any MLB team, but the Superstation allowed us to be in 50 states, and we had fans in 50 states, and many of those cities had no teams, or if they had any, they had one team to support and not many games. So people just liked seeing baseball, whether it was us or the people we were playing. They wound up seeing us every night.
So Ted Turner was what kind of owner? He was, he was active, he was involved, or he was sort of, here's all the resources you need, and I'm going to get out of your way.
He was very active in my first 10 years, let's say. Very involved. But then, things started happening. The business started growing, not just the Superstation, but then he kicked off CNN and a lot of networks that followed, and his efforts in international diplomacy with the UN. So he just got too big to deal with the day-to-day, which is why he took a guy who was running a basketball team pretty nicely and asked him to also take over the Braves, which was me. So and he wasn't very much involved at all after that.
Go ahead, Eben. I know you wanted to jump in.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I do want to talk and shift the conversation to the.
I knew it was shift time. I knew it was shift time.
What's happening currently in baseball, but maybe there's an easy transition here, Stan. The economics of baseball have changed quite a bit from the Braves days to now. The Dodgers have superlative payroll in baseball. There's a lot of talk of salary caps. I'm curious how you feel about the health right now of the league, baseball-wise, and then we'll get to the Dodgers, which I think we would all agree is quite healthy.
The health of the league, I think, is excellent. We have a great product. More and more people are consuming us across more and more platforms, including just starting out greatly enhanced international exposure. So all of those things are great, but to us it emphasizes how much more potential we have that we are not tapping under our system that the way it exists today. So I look forward to, whether it's rules or other systemic changes that we can put in place to make our game even better. And by even better, I mean for fans, for the clubs, and for players. I think we can accomplish those things because there is so much more untapped potential still out there.
And yeah, what are some real changes you would like to see? I mean, are we talking salary cap? Or are we talking other things?
Well, that's a labor thing, and I won't be talking about labor. But we put in the clock a couple of years ago. We made the bases bigger. We have players stay on the infield and did away with the shift. All of those changes have been really positive for the game, really positive. It's ironic that it is, in some respects, returning our game to what it was many, many years ago. But still, it worked for all of our fans, whether they're old fans or young fans. Next year, we're going to the ABS system, which I think should help everyone, including umpires. It's just going to make our game more reliable, more dependable, make fans appreciate more the job that umpires do. I don't know about any other changes, but we have people, we have a committee, we have owners looking at all, and we work with umpires and players as well, looking at those things all the time. So if anything, I can tell you in recent years, we have ushered in a new era of willingness to consider changes. That wasn't always the case among baseball ownership, but it is the case now, and I think that's a very, very positive development.
I was going to say, this is a sport that historically has hated change and a fan base that has hated change. And all the changes that you just mentioned, at least among baseball fans that I know, are basically unanimous in support.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable how that's happened.
Yeah.
One downside to the pitch clock, Stan. I'm going to give you a personal. I was at Wrigley Field about a month ago. Now, if you know me, I am centered on the cuisine at the ballparks. I have to feed myself healthily. And so I was going to budget, I'm going to eat at the third inning and then the seventh. Well, all I have to say is the Cubs won 1-0 in 157. There was no time after the first meal, after the third inning. It was just, I wasn't hungry yet. So, I mean, we need to take care of that. I need to be able to know when I can space out my meals.
It's true, and when we cut about a half hour off of our game times, it did affect beer sales, frankly, and it affected other sales. That was part of the cost, but it was a cost we were willing to pay because it made the product so much more appealing and really better for everyone.
True or false? Somebody told me this, so I haven't brought this up yet to anybody in baseball. You tell me if this is true, that this got to you. One of the proposed changes was to, and we've heard about the golden bat, but one of the proposed changes was to break baseball games into 3 mini games, 3 3-inning games. Whereas if you won innings 1 through 3 and 4 through 6, game over. That's it. You've won 2 of the 3, and the game was over. Did that reach your ears? Was that really among the considered?
No. Listen, we first. There's no bigger fan of the Savannah Bananas than me, okay, and that sounds like something they might really adopt. So this is no disrespect because I think they're phenomenal, but I don't think that works for us. I think our sport divided into 9 innings, where the team with the most runs at the end wins the game. I don't think it's revolutionary to say we're going to kind of insist on keeping it that way.
All right, let's get to the Dodgers. You're in the World Series again. You won last year. You are humming on all cylinders on the field, in the ledger. What Mark Walters said recently, there was no better free agent signing in history than Shohei Ohtani. Of course, we can do that on the field. I got it. He's a great player, great hitter. I want to do the business of Shohei. You are the CEO of the team. Back up for me with some specifics why he is the greatest signing in the history of baseball.
Well, first of all, whenever we sign anyone, including Shohei, the first and most important consideration is what can he do for the team? How can he help us win a game on the field? If he can't do that, he cuts into any value he could possibly have. We're not like other sports where one player moves the needle in terms of celebrity or fame. That's not us. We need someone to contribute to winning games. And he came out with very high check marks on all of those metrics. In terms of off the field, I know you want specifics, and you also know I don't give you specifics, but I will tell you this.
Give me some really good generalities. He's done this, he's done that.
We pay him cash every year, $2 million a year. I can safely admit he has cleared that hurdle for us in terms of
Breaking news.
We'll ask a little bit of specifics, and obviously you don't have to give. According to Sportico's numbers, the Dodgers just passed $1 billion in annual gross revenue. The first baseball team to do that. Roughly what percentage is coming from overseas? You mentioned the international.
Oh, not a lot. No, not a lot. I mean, unless you count overseas visitors coming to the game, and I couldn't give you a specific.
Yeah, which I'm not. Yeah,
but that's really increased. Remember, international rights belong to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And the way our game is growing, recently it started in Europe. Increasingly now it's in the Pacific Rim. I think we have played a major role in increasing our visibility and our appeal and monetization opportunities across the Pacific Rim. But we get 1/30 of that. That is to the benefit of all of baseball, and we're happy to lead the way there. But that's really something that is centralized and all of us can share it.
But you have team sponsors that are Japanese companies, correct?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, but okay, well.
That's part of what I'm asking. I mean,
we have about a dozen different sponsors, and they range from $100K to multi-million-dollar sponsors. So that's definitely true. But even that helps other teams because while we are sold out of our premium inventory, sponsors go to other cities when we are on the road. It's not an accident that behind the plate when Shohei is up, you see a Japanese sponsored ad. That's not a coincidence. It's also cheaper than buying them at Dodgers just because of the viewing habits. But there again is a way that we can contribute to helping all of baseball.
So there's obviously on the road, you're mentioning kind of one-off deals that teams do. Are you guys doing smaller deals too? Are there deals where it's just days that Shohei is pitching or days that Yamamoto is pitching?
No,
everything is done on a team-wide basis.
Yeah, we have promotional sponsorships, and we do activations on certain different days, like when we're giving out a bobblehead of an international star and things like that. But basically, if you're in for the season, we take care of you for the season, just like you're taking care of us for the season.
Eben, you ready for a question I've never asked a sports executive before? You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Stan, tell me the toilet story.
Well, which one are you referring to? No,
Both.
Not your personal. No personal questions here.
We were, just like last year, when Shohei was considering us, we walked around the locker room, and he observed that we were still one of the teams, I think most teams, that only has one batting cage at home. And I said, oh, you only have one batting cage? And we said, oh, would you like two? He said, well, yeah, two is really important. I spent so much time there, I don't want to take up time from the other players. So we said, oh, we're putting in a second batting cage, which we did. This year, when we were talking to Roki, we were in the process of completely renovating our clubhouse for the first time in about a dozen years. And we were showing him this, and he just happened to ask just a random question. Well, do you have these wonderful Japanese toilets, which any of you are familiar with, really are great? And we said, well, no. Is that important? And he said, yeah. Is that something you would like? And he said, well, yeah. And I go, well, you know, we are putting them in. And we put a dozen in, and it cost some money, but it was the right thing to do anyway. The fact that Roki was there and was able to give us input into our plans. I think, by the way, that's also indicative of how we operate. We take input from people. And even though this offseason, as we're finally getting to the second batting cage, and we're having, and to dig down to do that, we had to completely raise the lower deck, take all the seats out and dig down. So one day Shohei was in my office in the off season and he sees all this stuff going on. And I say, Sho, last year you were 50-50, okay? And we won the Team Silver Slugger Award for offense. We did all that with one batting cage. Are you sure we need this? And he looks at me very sincerely, says, Stan, the batting cage is my home. Okay, that's all I need. That's all I needed to know. So we have 2 batting cages and the world's most phenomenal array of Japanese toilets. And we're proud of all of those things.
And I'm going to ask you to put on your creative cap, because I know you don't give specifics. But if somebody said to you, let's pretend we're doing a Harvard case study, and they say, Stan, I need a title, a working title for the business of Shohei Ohtani. Individual, team, league. What he means to team, league, sport. What would that be?
It would, first of all, be a master of all of the disciplines, because he cuts across every demographic now. He cuts across geography. He is, if you go to Japan, you won't go a block without a billboard that doesn't have his face on. And he's very finicky about it. He's only associated with top brands. It's why when Joe Kelly's wife led the charge for him to sign here, even though it would mean her husband had to give up number 17, after he signed, he went to their house and gifted her a Porsche. Because Porsche is one of his sponsors. He can do things like that. So he has hardware, electronics, watches, baseball technology. He doesn't do podcasts yet. I don't think even in Japanese.
Really?
But I wouldn't rule it out. He doesn't quite have the breadth that LeBron has amassed at this stage in his career, but he's quite a bit earlier in his career than LeBron is. So I don't know what the future holds in terms of media, but in terms of advertising, sponsoring, he cuts across almost anything. He may well be the single most recognizable athlete in the world now, and I understand that world takes in soccer, cricket, and everything else. He really may be the leader.
Now, Eben and I always talk about athletes and their off-field endeavors and things they can do, which nowadays to me means equity. And like you said, he's at a time where he can learn from others, like the LeBron blueprint, but his globality, as you said, his popularity, lends itself to his ability to really become something we have not seen yet. What are your thoughts on the possibilities if he wanted to do it?
Yeah, I think that'll be there. If at least, from Sportico, I think, has printed outlandish numbers that he makes off the field, probably accurately.
Yeah.
Probably. Not to mention the money he makes here and will be paid out over the next 18 or 20 years. So he has a lot he can invest, whether it's startups or whether it's driving the direction of a company he wants to join. So I have no doubt that his people at CAA, who still manages all his business affairs, I have no doubt they're looking at a lot of things. I'm not privy to any particular plans of his, because for the first 2 years with us, he's really been laser focused on having the best team and winning world championships. It's not surprising that last year in the Yankee clubhouse, as we are celebrating winning the World Series, he's hugging me, and the first words out of his mouth were 9 more to go. That's what he is focused on. And truthfully, it is what makes everything else possible. So he continues to be focused on his best case, which is continuing to rack up team honors.
For listeners who are curious, we have Shohei at $72 million in earnings in 2024, and obviously almost all of that comes from off-field earnings because of the way his contract is structured.
I understand that might be light, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it was a year ago, right? And his star has gotten bigger in that year, so I imagine
the World Series didn't hurt him, I'm guessing, right?
100%.
In Yankee Stadium against the Dodgers.
All right. While we're there, I didn't bother you that day, Stan, but Soshnick and the focus group of one 15-year-old and the wife were there, along the first baseline. But I brought one of our editors, huge Yankee fan, also brought her mother, who'd never been to a Yankee game but was a huge Yankee fan. So I just want to let you know you made her cry. I just want to let you know she's hot. This very quiet woman was jumping up and down and high-fiving when Judge and Stanton went back to back, and then to see her cry later on, Stan.
Well, I was tearing up that night myself because I grew up at Yankee Stadium, but more than that, you won't remember this because you're too young. But
so few people say that to me, by the way. This is great.
In 1996, we won the first 2 games. When I was running the Braves, we won the first 2 games in the World Series. And then we lost 4 in a row. And then in 99, we go back to play the Yankees, and we got swept. So I never said this till after Game 1 that night, Freddie's Grand Slam. I had a personal 8-game World Series losing streak against the Yankees.
Oh, okay.
That night, I never brought it up and never talked about it, but it turned out okay. So imagine growing up a kid in Yankee Stadium and then winning a World Series in Yankee Stadium.
I still wonder why Wohlers threw Jim Leyritz an off-speed pitch. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Stan, are there aspects of the Dodgers business after re-signing or signing Ohtani that surprised you? Doors that were opened or types of companies or geographies that suddenly opened?
Listen, I have a marketing guy who leads a marketing team. And wherever we're going to sign X player, he gives me the expected marketing positive impact from that player. He's always wrong. It doesn't happen, okay? It's below.
Well, is he wrong high or is he wrong low? Yeah, exactly. Or is he just wrong?
He's always wrong high because baseball is not that kind of sport where one guy moves the needle. Doesn't exist.
And yet on this one, I love this.
He was way low on this one. Way low. And we laugh about it. Now, because we did have, we know what other people have done, but the unique combination, which we were never able to quantify, of the celebrity of this one player and the legacy, the history, the acclaim of the Dodger brand throughout history. Those two things put together was really baseball's best foot forward. It's why baseball has really taken the ball and run with it, to mix my metaphors, to grow their international business. It was the best case for baseball at the best possible time, and I think we're still seeing the benefits of that, and we'll continue to for the next, hopefully 8 years.
Have you learned any Japanese?
I did the first time around with Kenta Maeda, and I still had my little cheat sheet. But here's what you don't know: Shohei speaks pretty good English. He really does, but because he's a perfectionist, he just doesn't like to do it because he might not be perfect. You will see in interviews, we always have an interpreter with him. And when someone asks the question in English, you can see him shaking his head. Yeah, he got it. But now he's going to wait for the guy to interpret just to make sure. And the same with his answers. So there's no trouble with Shohei speaking. I don't need to speak Japanese with Shohei.
That sounds like Russian hockey players, Scott.
Ochan Harasho. I was very surprised, Dan, you brought up interpreter and Shohei. I got to say, that was not a fun. How long was that not fun for you?
It was 12 hours of hell. 12 hours thinking, all of this is gone. All of this is gone. It's disappeared. Everything we had done, everything we planned, gone. But within 12 hours, we had started to understand what was really going on here. There never was a scandal. There was a swindle. That's true. And someone's doing time for that right now. But Shohei never did anything wrong. But yeah, it was a bad half a day.
Right. How much runway, by the way, is left on the business side? How much runway is there? And because I hear things, we know RSNs are they're going away, right? Your deal's pretty great. We hear mixed-use development. I don't see one yet, but there are possibilities. How much more runway is there on the business side for the Dodgers?
We have more. We have plenty we can do. We are always looking for brand extensions. And this isn't just on the strict capitalist economic scale. We also do a lot of philanthropy. And this enables us to improve our philanthropic efforts a lot. We are in thousands of programs and appearances around the city, around Southern California. And I try to always mention the extent to which our reputation, our brand, is grown and growing. It's because of our team on the field, but it's also because of what we have invested in the stadium experience, in all the renovations we've done in a 60-year-old stadium that is featuring modern 21st century amenities, and in the philanthropy and programs we do around we have 68 Little League fields that we have built around Los Angeles. That's a lot for kids who didn't have them. They're built in underprivileged areas. Kids can play softball, baseball, boys and girls. And that's just one of 100 different programs we do. So all of it works, all of it helps, and it continues to drive us all.
So we're recording this on Tuesday. The World Series Game 1 starts later this week. Is there new business that you're looking at this week, Stan? I don't know if it's partners coming in for the World Series or if it's pricing on tickets for your home games, but I'm curious if there is new business coming in this week that you're in talks with.
This is mostly, I think, kind of a homecoming for all our existing sponsors. Who this is what they're here for, right? This is what they live for. They live for seeing a ball that Shohei hit go over their sign into the stands, right?
I had a question. Hold on. I asked, this is true. I had a question of Eben last time. I said, with all of the data that we use for everything these days, do sponsors or do teams, and maybe your marketing guy, the one who's always wrong, maybe he could help here. Is there data in terms of which players, where do they hit the ball so I know exactly to the foot, to the inch, where I want to put my sign?
Well,
or is it just, we want left field?
We do understand where balls are hit. I don't think we break it down quite like you do, but I will tell you in every marketing pitch and every time they come in, we have a group of clips showing here's where Shohei hit the ball and it was an important home run, so it's memorialized forever. Okay, your brand is going long after your sponsorship, so you're welcome. Right, that's basically what we tell them, and no one complains because we're right and they're right. This is something that works for everyone. We're trying to maximize what we can get, but we also continue to invest in our fans who have invested in us, not just on the team level, which we do, but mostly in what we do to keep the stadium modernized and to keep our community engaged in a way that will keep them supporting us if we ever do have a down time, which I hope we never do.
Well, do you remember Steve Shanwald? Do you remember Steve Shanwald in Chicago with the Bulls?
Yes, sure.
Steve was tasked with, how do I keep my fan base when Michael Jordan retires?
Yeah.
Like, that was Steve's job, and he worked tirelessly. Again, he was one of the first data collector. Who are my fans? When do they come? What do they want? How often? And how do I make sure they sign up long after Michael Jordan's gone? So, I mean, it's not the easiest thing.
Well, here's the thing. In baseball, first of all, we have thought about that specifically with Shohei, and obviously that's a long way from now, so there's nothing for us to announce. But baseball, again, is not determined by one lead guy, by one Michael Jordan, right, or by one Hakeem Olajuwon. It's not, or one LeBron. It's not like that. It takes 26 guys up here and the whole 40-man roster and the 200 minor leaguers behind them. Baseball America this week unveiled some StatCast analyses of the best minor league talent. And on the pitching side, we were number one.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, Stan.
Then on the baseball side, we were number one. That doesn't happen by itself. That happens because you have great people, really committed, really dedicated to the mission of being good after Michael Jordan retires and after Shohei is not here, right? That's the most important thing we can do, and we have an army of people that spend their lives working on that.
I think most people would look at the Dodgers payroll and expect your farm system to be bad, right? Just assume that you have kind of mortgaged the future in exchange for stardom now. And I do think it's impressive that you have done both simultaneously.
Well, listen, I said this from the day, we're not shy about this. We have a marketplace that supports doing both things at once, having a team up here and having a great development pipeline. Not every market can do that. I understand that. And that's a problem. That's a problem we should address in baseball. But we have a market that does allow that, and while the rules allow us to exploit that, to capitalize on that, we do it. But we understand that we're fortunate to be in a market. I think to not take advantage of that would be a disservice to all our fans who have supported us for 60-some years.
This may be a question for people who are not you, but how would you fix that problem? What's the answer?
You're getting into an area that I won't be discussing today.
Fair enough.
I appreciate your backhanded way of trying, as if I was a rookie. That was great, Eben.
No. You see, this is
Never
where you're
hurts to
missing. No. This is where you're missing it, Stan. He wasn't hoping to fool you as if you were a rookie. He was hoping that some dementia had started to come in, and that you might say something.
Well, you have a much better chance of that.
Yeah, much better. You see, that's what he does with me too. But
Okay.
I'm still sharp enough to understand. Like, no, that's not going to work on me. But two quick tangential things for you, Stan.
Yeah.
So Mark Walter, takes controlling interest in the Lakers. Will we be seeing Lakers, Dodgers, anything? I mean, you don't ever just take.
We've always been close. We're family in a lot of ways. First of all, Mark already has a piece of the Lakers, so we do a lot of work
Magic Johnson.
with him. I think we'll be able to do more servicing in terms of the competencies that we have at the Dodgers that maybe we could help with. We'll do some of that. Mark and I will both be at the home opener tonight of the Lakers. As they take on the team of one of our partners, the Golden State Warriors. So yeah, we're all kind of family loosely. That deal, as we're speaking here on Tuesday, is not yet official, but we think it's coming very
Yeah,
soon.
the NBA Board of Governors are getting together. That'll be probably done this week. And my prediction, by the way, down the road, I know you can just not say anything. My prediction is Mark will, with his MOU of sovereign wealth, my guess is he goes and gets AG as well. But I know you won't say anything. And lastly for you, PWHL. Let's close on that. The business model there may cause, you're looking for investment, maybe selling teams. You've always been coy, but I know this is something you're looking to do. This is something you may want to tell us a little nugget here that, hey, there's some capital distribution going in a certain way. What do we got with the PWHL?
We have, I can tell you we aren't making money yet, but that was never part of the plan. We had a 10-year plan, and we don't call these expenses. We call them investments in a tremendous group of athletes. The very top level of women hockey players in the world play in the PWHL. You should know between 50 and 60 of the players in our league will be in Milan, Torino this winter because they play for their countries. So I think we got this at the exact right time. We have a collective bargaining agreement with our players that finally allows them to be treated like the professionals they always were, but never had this opportunity. So we're extraordinarily proud. Mark and I would just talk about that this morning. We're extraordinarily proud of what we've done in such a short period of time. Our first year, we had projected in our first year, based on history, that we would have 1,000 people a night. And in that first year, we drew 5,000 people a night. Last year, we were at 7,500. This year, our two expansion teams in Vancouver and Seattle already lead the league in season ticket sales. And today, they unveiled their uniforms for the year. And this league is going to grow, Scott, really quickly.
Yeah, so for all the prospective investors who want in on all this goodness, what do you tell them?
We tell them, let's have a chat.
Let's
We
go.
are selling teams. I don't know that we ever will, but for now, we are talking to people if they want to invest in the league, which, by the way, is a way better deal. Let me tell you something, than sweating out a team and having to worry about that every night. And I think people kind of respect the way we built this as a single entity without owners and commissioners and committees and all of that stuff. We are nimble, we are efficient, we can make our own rules to the extent that it improves the product. We have our players actively involved in everything we do, and their benefits are codified in a collective bargaining agreement so that they never have to worry about not having nutrition or coaches or facilities or trainers, things like that they never had before. And now they do, and as I said, we're very proud of that.
Ooh, I can hear the WNBA players in the background howling. Hey, Eben, I have some music teed up. Let's see. This should be easy for you, Eben. This should be easy.
no.
What am I playing?
Oh no, I don't know.
Really?
I don't.
I hope it's I Love LA.
I mean,
There
Stan,
you go.
this is why you're Stan there,
you
and
go.
Eben is like looking confused.
I should have known.
This was the
I should have
easiest
known.
one I've ever given him, and I don't know.
This is a women's hockey song for some reason.
Oh my God! Maybe I'll do a little Chick Hearn. Put it in, the Jello. Put it in the refrigerator. Yeah, come on. God Almighty! You needed to have that one.
He is Stan
Stan, thank you
Kasten.
so much. We talk right over Eben as he closes. It doesn't
He is
matter.
Stan Kasten. He's the CEO and president of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Scott Sachs, you
Laker
can find
game
on Twitter
tonight.
at
Fly to
Sochnik.
Toronto, the
I am Evan
51st
Novi
state
Williams.
of the
Find me
Union.
on Twitter at Novi_Williams. The show is produced by Justin Greenewald. Thank you very much to Justin. Nat Palacio, Sebastian Milo, and Carol Winston would like you to know that you can follow the
This is
show
longer
at
than it usually
Sporticast,
goes.
which is the hub of the
I don't
Sportico
know.
Media Network.
Ooh,
Got it.
tough.